Hey YouTube, Farm Rigging here. Welcome back to the channel. We're back working on this flatbed here. I've got a bunch of welding to do on this thing, and so that's what we're going to start with, I think. So I'm going to get you guys set up, and we're going to time lapse it. All right, so we've got the whole bed here welded on, all the cross members to the channel, the cross members to the box tubing around the outside. Now I'm going to work on welding the plate to the headed crack. Now, whenever you're welding plate on something, you got to be careful for heat distortion. So basically, as you weld, it puts heat into the material, which causes it to expand, and then when it cools, it retracts, and you can get all sorts of warping and bending, and it just doesn't look right. So how you deal with that is you weld in short sections. So if you weld here, then you weld in another spot farther away, and you try to, let this spot cool before you come back to it. Now the idea is to start in the center and work your way out, so that the piece can, you're basically pushing it back if it does warp a little bit. I am speaking from what I know. And it's kind of one of those things, do as I say, not as I do, because I'm not always the greatest when it comes to welding plate. I have warped pieces of plate because I get impatient and I just want it welded, and so I push it, and then I kick myself later because it warped. So I'm going to set you guys up, and we'll put this on time lapse again. Okay, so I was welding along up there, and all of a sudden it started acting kind of strange. The spool speed wasn't right. Messed up the tip. Went to change the tip, and I always keep the tips in the side of the welder here. Opened this up, and pile of parts fell out. So what has happened in here is there's a screw that holds these parts in this I'm gonna call it tube or whatever that holds the wire spool on. So we're gonna have to sit here and put this back together. Okay, we're back in business here. So we're gonna continue welding on this thing. So it's a couple days later. I did the welding over the course of a couple days to kind of spread it out, and I just didn't have the kind of time that I needed to sit down and weld this thing all in one day. So we're back at it. I finished the headache rack. It is all done. A viewer pointed out a very good point that I am probably going to use in the future, and that is weld the backside first and not weld the side that you can see, and then put a seam sealer in the cracks to kind of make everything uniform. That is an excellent idea, and I will definitely be using that or trying that out in the future on different projects, because I really like that idea. But we didn't do that on this. We just welded it on the backside there. All of the bed is welded. All of the rub rail is welded. The only thing that I have left to do is create some bed mounts, and I think I'm gonna wait until the very end to create those, because I am not 100% sure how I want to do that yet, and where I'm going to want to do that. I'm going to kind of play that one as I go. I am going to come back and revisit this toolbox mount today. I really appreciate all of you who have commented with suggestions or ideas or whatever. I do try to read all of the comments in the comment section. And another viewer was mentioning that these toolboxes are not built strong enough to withstand the forces as they go down the road, the vibration and such, and they tend to crack if you bolt them along the outside edge of the toolbox. They crack out and fall off. And I was wondering about that myself as I got done with doing this mount here. So I'm going to revisit this. I've got a couple other ideas that I'm going to try out, and we'll just kind of see how that goes. In the back of the bed here, I have not welded anything yet. That is what I'm going to work on today, getting everything welded in back here. And I need to, I think I might have mentioned it in a previous video. I'm not 100% sure, but I need to strengthen the back of the bed here. And I think how I'm going to do that, let's see if I can show you here. I'm going to take some of this extra flat bar that I have. Let's see if I can hold it right so you can see. And I'm going to weld it along the bottom edge of all of these angles, and kind of make it so it's a little bit more finished looking when you look at it side on from down low. And it'll add some rigidity to this plate. Not that it necessarily needs more rigidity, but you can never build anything too heavy. Or at least most of the time you can never build anything too heavy. So we need to do a couple other little things. I need to weld in some mud flap brackets and some grab irons for the side of the headache rack. So when you're climbing up the ladder, you can grab onto something. Now, the biggest consideration that we got to watch out for when we do that is right out to here is pretty much 8'6". You cannot exceed legally in the state. The state has requirements that you have to be under 8'6" in width. So this is pretty much as wide as we can make those grab irons. So we'll see how that goes. But I'm gonna go ahead and fire the welder up and start welding. All right, so I got this back piece all fully welded. I'm putting on the stake pockets because when I want to run straps from the front of the truck to the back of the truck to strap down the hay, I've got to have a hook point for my strap in the back. So I'm going to continue the rub rail around. I'm going to cut a short piece to go from here to here just to make it look right, and then I'm going to carry the rub rail on, you know, all the way to the other side. I space these in such a way that if I wanted to create some sort of a ratchet winch like what they have on the semi-trailers and such, the sliding winches, I can fabricate something to slip in with a pin or something in the back here, or you can just hook the strap on the rub rail that's going to be in the back here. So I'm going to get these stake pockets fully welded on, and then I'm going to get the rub rail on. All right, so we've got the stake pockets all welded in, along with the rub rail. You can see what I did here. This is the best I could come up with because at this angle, this sits a whole lot closer to the box tubing than over here, but I don't think you can tell too much from back here. It kind of looks the same. That was the main reason why I did it, was just to make it look right. So yeah, that's all done. So I think I'm going to take a break from welding back here, and I'm going to work on the grab irons on the front of the headache rack there. So basically what I did is I got some, I think it's 1/2 inch rod, 1/2 inch or 3/4, I can't remember. I think it's 1/2 inch. And I don't know how long it is. It's somewhere in the neighborhood of 3-4 feet. I just kind of eyeballed it, put it up on the headache rack there, and it looked about right. It was just whatever drop was at the steel yard. So measured up 3 inches so that way I can bend it, and then I can cut it off exactly where I need it to stick out, you know, as far as I can stick out with the 8'6" wide. So I'm going to go ahead and fire the torch up and heat this thing up and try bending it. Parts for another video. key is to get the other side oriented the same way. It doesn't sound hard. However, it's very frustrating when you get them backwards or cockeyed just a little bit. Ask me how I know that. There we go. So there's one. I got one done. Let's see how good you do. Not bad. Could be worse. So, we'll set that aside to cool. And get the other one in there. Now, some of you might be asking why I'm not using a rosebud for this. And two reasons. One, I didn't want to switch over my torch head to a rosebud right now. Not that takes very long. But two, I'm wanting to concentrate the heat in one small location for the bend that I'm trying to do. And I didn't want to do a lot of heat transfer through the whole bar. So that's the reason why I'm using just the cutting torch tip. So I just have the torch set like you would be cutting a piece of steel, but I'm not touching the oxygen. I am just heating the area till it's red hot. And then I'm applying pressure on the bar to bend it. And then I just have to make it square when I get to the end here. And I'm just eyeballing it. I'm not putting a square on it or anything like that. You certainly could do that if you wanted. If you were doing a project like this. But I'm not too worried about it, and so I elected to just eyeball it. Hopefully you guys can see what's going on here. I have never claimed to be a very good camera guy. And when you do this, you want to keep the torch moving. You don't want to really leave it in one spot. You just want to heat the metal. You don't necessarily want to melt it. You just want to heat it so you can bend what it is you're trying to bend. And we're done. I gotta get over and shut my bottles off. Do. Not horrible. Always shut your bottles off as soon as you're done working, because if you think you'll remember, you won't. And then you waste a bunch of gas. Because you forgot your bottles on all night. I've done that before, and that's never been a good thing. So you can see what the bends look like. You can see I got that one just slightly slightly off. I'm not too terribly worried about it. I don't think you're going to be able to see it when I get them all welded on the side of the truck there. So I'm going to let these things cool down for a little bit, and then I will measure them and lob them off where they're supposed to be, and then we'll tack them on the truck. Okay, so we got these welded on. I think they turned out pretty good. So when I welded them on, I don't know if you can see, I welded them on in such a way that they're slightly angled back. So if you're coming in with something like this, you're not gonna catch them with a loader or whatever you're gonna come in with. The measurement ended up being I think it was 2 5/8 from the edge of the box tubing to the outside edge of this, and that should be right at 8'6". So we should be all legal. So I think we're gonna go back to the back of the truck and work on the tailpiece. All right, so I got these pieces all tacked in. You can kind of see what I was talking about here on that. Show you the other side here. Kind of gives it a little bit of a more of a finished look. It kind of boxes everything in, so you just are not seeing a flat piece of really thin plate there. So I'm gonna go ahead and fully weld these and move on to the next thing here. All right, so now that we got the tail end of the truck pretty well done, I'm gonna come back and address this toolbox mount. I have some ideas of how I'm gonna do this. So I'm gonna get the box set up there again on the jack here, and we'll see what we can come up with here. So here's the bottom frame for the, it's going to support the toolbox. And you know, in a project, when you have some pieces of steel and you cut some steel and you put it together and you go, you know, that just doesn't look right. I left, you know, this side too long by 3 inches. How did that happen? Yeah, well, and then you go over and you cut 3 inches off these two pieces here. And then you bring it over here and realize that that is how you were supposed to have them. Yeah. So we're gonna have to recut those. So that is how it's supposed to look. Always make sure and measure once and cut twice. That way you can go and get a whole new piece and start all over again. Okay, so there's the toolbox mount all tacked together now. Let's see if the box fits. One thing, it's a very snug fit. I do see what the problem is. I need a rubber mallet. It's right there. Trying to figure out where it's pinched because there's room up here, and there's room down here. There's room over there. Let me get a persuader. Is it those? Fits good in every other way, except it's rubbing the top corners of this piece. That doesn't work. What I'll probably do is I'll cut it off down here, set it in there and tweak it down a little bit and then re-weld it. If this doesn't work, Minor persuading, but it fits. So it fits. You saw it took a little bit to get it in there. I built it large. You can see there's a gap down there and no gap there. We can kind of pry the box around a little bit and tweak it and make that gap a little more even when we go to actually mount this box in there for good. But I like how that turned out. It's a lot more stable than the other way that I was gonna do. So I think that was a win. Now we just have to repeat the process on the other side. I probably won't film that because it's just a repeat of what we did here. So I think that's where I'm gonna leave this video off at. This project has gone extremely well. I was not expecting it to go this quickly, actually. We've gotten a lot done in the past few videos. It's taken me a little bit longer than just the videos, obviously, because I'm just showing you little bits and pieces. But you know, it's taken probably, I'm gonna say, about a week to do this project. And overall, if you count, you know, all of the hours I've been working on this thing. And so it's gone extremely well. And I am at the point right now where I need to start prepping it for paint. The only problem is where I live right now in Washington State, it's the middle of winter right now. And I like to paint things outside. And you might ask, well, why don't you just paint this inside? Well, the biggest problem is I've got a lathe, a milling machine, and a CNC plasma table. And the last time I painted something in the shop, it was actually another Kenworth truck that you'll see at some point on the channel here. And it made a huge mess. I was cleaning paint dust off of stuff for days afterward. It got in places that I never even thought that it could. So I don't want to paint something else in the shop again. That just was not a good deal. I don't mind if it's a small item like a door or a hood or something like that. I don't mind doing it because it doesn't create as much dust. But the problem is when you paint a flatbed or a trailer, you've got all of these cross members, and they're about 3 inches wide, and your spray fan, you know, the fan of paint that's coming out of your paint gun is, I don't know, something, you know, it fans out to be what, about 12 inches, something like that. And it makes a big mess because you've got all the overspray spraying, you know, on the top and on the bottom of these cross members, and it volatilizes in the air, and it just hangs around in the air to the point until it contacts something else, and then it lands and it sticks to it, but it doesn't stick to it real well, so you get kind of this textured color from that truck. I still have paint on my forklift, actually, from that from painting that truck. So I really don't want to do it in the shop. I don't have a paint booth. That is going to happen next year, or well, I guess actually this year, but next season I do want to build a paint booth so I can paint things in the middle of winter. That's a project that I want to do. That's going to be farther on down the year, probably next fall, before I do that. But I do want to do that. But if you guys let me know in the comments things that you guys have done to paint things in the winter, I'd be really appreciated. You know, I really appreciate hearing from you guys, and I might, you know, use your ideas to try to speed this process along, because I really would like to get this done sooner than I'm gonna guess about a month and a half before I can get back working on this thing and paint it, unless we get a freak day where it warms up. We had just the other day, actually, I could have painted this thing if I had the right, was it a hardener, reducer, whatever. If I had the right stuff, I could have painted it, and it would have dried to the touch outside that day if I painted it in the morning. And then I could roll it back in the shop and let it cure for a few days in the shop, you know, get the wood stove going over there, and let it cure in the shop here. So yeah, if you guys could let me know what you guys have done, I'd greatly appreciate it. I had to get a tripod or something to set the camera on because I'm not used to sitting here holding a selfie stick for the camera. My arm was getting tired there. So the other reason why I need to get this project out of the shop is I have another project that is getting ready to come in the shop here. I've mentioned it before, but I'll kind of go in a little bit more detail about it. We are actually a working farm here. We do hay. We farm lease ground around where I live. And during the summer, it's a very busy time for us, as you can imagine, with cutting hay and everything. We don't have any irrigated ground. We do all pretty much dry land. But some of the fields that we have are sub-irrigated, and we'll get two on a really good year, 3 cuttings even on dry land. And I got a lot of equipment that I need to work on during the winter time, because that's about the only time that I can work on it, because I'm usually too busy during the season farming, either prepping the ground for seed, or harvesting the crop, or doing fall tillage work. And there's a little bit of a dead zone in the end of the summer after we're done cutting and whatever. I usually get a few weeks off. I say off really loosely there. That I can do projects and kind of catch up on some mechanic work, and maybe do a fun project like building a flatbed, or a few years ago I built a gooseneck dump trailer. Unfortunately, I didn't film any of that. I wish I did. You guys would probably enjoy seeing that. But I'll take you on a tour of the trailer one day, sometime on the channel, and kind of show you what I did there with it. But I can only work on stuff in the winter. That's when I really have time, and I have several different pieces of equipment that need attention before spring. Spring work, which is for us, it's end of March, beginning of April typically, and it's in the middle of January right now. So I need to really get on working on a couple things. You're going to see the next project actually come in. It's sort of a big project that has to come in here in an upcoming video. But so that's the other reason why I need to get this flatbed out of the shop. I'm going to go park it in another barn I have, and wait till the weather improves. Do not worry, this bed will get done. This truck has to be hauling hay this season, and so this bed has to be completely done before that. So I will be coming back to it. It's just this time of year it gets kind of crazy because the projects kind of back up, because there's some things I can't do, except outside or whatever, and I got to wait for the weather. So the projects kind of stack up. I stack them up a little bit, and then once the weather improves, I can go ahead and get them all done. And then it's the mad scramble into the winter to get everything ready to go for the next season. So that's the other reason why this flatbed needs to get out of the shop here. So I also wanted to say a great big thank you to all of those of you who have been following along on this flatbed build series. When I started the channel, I knew that there was a few people that would enjoy watching mechanic videos or welding videos or that sort of thing. I myself watch a few channels. I find it fun to watch. When I'm done farming, I watch farming videos, and mechanic videos when I'm done doing mechanic work, as crazy as that sounds. But I knew there was some people that would enjoy that, but I didn't realize that there were so many of you that enjoyed watching this sort of thing. So go ahead and drop me a comment down below. What you would like to see. Do you like mechanic videos? Repairing broken equipment, broken trucks, and that sort of thing. Or do you want to see more welding projects, kind of like the flatbed that I have behind me here? Let me know. I do read all of the comments that you guys make or try to, and I do appreciate all of the feedback that I've gotten. I've actually used some ideas modified them a little bit and used them, or am going to use them on future projects. So I think it's fantastic, you know, that there's been feedback that way that I've been able to use, and hopefully you guys have learned something as well from watching what I do. So if you're new here, welcome, and consider subscribing and following along with what we do here. You know, this time of year we do a lot of mechanical projects like this flatbed, welding this flatbed, fixing broken equipment. You probably saw the earlier videos on the channel, forklift, and then this truck actually, when I replaced the injection pump. There's going to be more of that sort of thing coming up. So so anyway, yeah, thank you again, and I will catch you in the next one.